Welcome to Wind Down and Focus. We are Annette and Christina, photographers with over 15 years of experience in portraits, branding, and senior sessions. We're here to share everything we've learned along the way.
We focus on creating genuine, memorable moments through the lens and can't wait to bring you tips, stories, and behind the scenes from our photography journeys.
Each episode, we'll chat about photography tips, stories, and fun, all while sipping wine.
So grab a glass, sit back, and join us for some casual conversation, laughs, and photography goodness. Let's wind down and focus. Welcome to episode 5.
Yes, today we're excited to introduce you to a special guest. We have Cindi Jones with us.
Super excited to talk to her, but first, what should we do?
Let's talk about our wine.
Let's talk about our wine. Okay, so decided to go to a different country. We are now visiting Argentina, and we are doing
in person.
and we are doing what they are known for, Malbec. So the exact wine that we got is called Cruz Alta Malbec Reserve. The grape used is 100% Malbec, and it is from the Argentinian Mendoza area. You can pick up this wine for approximately $13.99 at your local Total Wine, which if you haven't guessed by now, that's kind of where I get all my wine.
Right.
You
get a good discount if you buy several bottles. So
I do get it from other
rewards.
Places, but that's just
It's easy.
Yeah, such a big selection and things that I can't get at like our local grocery store.
It's cheaper too.
Yes. So here's a little description of the wine, and then we can kind of give our thoughts on what we thought when we tried it earlier. So this 100% Malbec is sourced from 3 high-altitude vineyards in the region of Mendoza. It offers rich aromas of black fruit and red plum, along with a spicy and structured palate that culminates in a long and firm finish. You can get aromas of plum and berry, and it's low in tannins, leaving a peppery aftertaste, which we both said we got that peppery aftertaste, didn't we?
Yes, when we first tried it. Yes.
Yep. So we did a little try, and then we tried it with some food. And now we're sitting here talking to you about it. And when I was kind of trying to Google different foods, a lot of wines, especially reds, can kind of cross over and do a lot of the same food. So I'm trying to get us like different food every time, although it might be hard to do from time to time.
Right, because I feel like they all go with the same food.
Yes.
Grilled something,
yes. But one thing I did read is that Malbecs go well with blue cheese in particular versus other cheeses. And the reason they said that is the blue cheese is known for its pungent, salty, and sharp flavor, which the wine helps bring out in the cheese. So we got some blue cheese.
We did.
And the other thing we got was some mushrooms. The other thing
Christina made, which
yeah,
were yummy.
They were yummy. Thank you. Which they said that earthy ingredients like mushrooms can bring out the fruity elements of the wine. So what did you think when you tried the blue cheese?
So I like the blue cheese.
Yes, I did too.
Yeah.
I
feel
really
like
good.
it made it smoother, like you said.
Yeah,
it was smoother.
Made it taste a little bit more smooth. And it wasn't harsh to begin with, but it just kind of mellowed it out a little bit.
Yeah, right.
What about the mushroom?
I love the mushrooms. I didn't notice as big of it didn't make it smooth afterwards.
Correct. Yes,
I didn't get the fruity flavor. Maybe
I said correct, but like I agree.
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer. Yeah.
But maybe it was like a little sweet. But I didn't get those fruity flavors.
No, I didn't either. I mean, I know there's fruity flavors in it in general, but did it bring out more? I didn't get it. But like we said before, guys, our palates are not very refined.
We're trying here.
We're trying. We're getting there. Maybe by episode 100.
Yeah.
We'll be a little
experts.
Yes.
I mean, if you're an expert out there, please.
Yes.
And you want to give a lesson on here?
Hey,
reach out.
We can just do a wine only episode.
Right. There you go. I might incorporate a little photography in it. Maybe some pictures of the wine. Say how we did it.
There you go. Exactly. I like it. I like that. So there you go for the wine this episode, guys. So are you guys ready to go on to our guest? Welcome, Cindi. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you photograph.
Hi, guys. Happy to be here. I'm Cindi Jones of Jones Photography. I'm in Michigan, in Shelby Township. I photograph high school seniors, athletes, teams, business headshots, and family. Some odd here and there that I can add in, but those are my main focus. The strongest being high school seniors and athletes.
Awesome. I love it.
She's my sync buddy.
Yep.
Last,
Yes.
3 years? Well, last year you weren't there, but you're still there in spirit.
My head was there on a stick.
Yes, it was.
I
You were
saw
there.
pictures of that.
You were there. And I was only there half the
Flat
time.
Cindy, right?
That's right.
And we love her. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing the pros and cons of having a studio space.
Which I thought, Cindy, was a great topic that you suggested.
Yes, love it.
Thank you.
So, Cindy, tell us about your space.
My studio, 400 square feet. It's on a main road in a good area for us. We're in the heart of our demographic, like where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good income area. Lots of high achieving, I'll say, high schools are in the area. My kids go to school in the same district that we're in, and Lisa's kids went to school in a district that's right next to us. So we have lots of connection. Lisa, I share my studio with. So we have a strong arm stretch in that area, but we have kids that will come from quite a ways away, like for an hour and a half drive to get to us.
Nice.
But we are in a very busy area. We have a camera room in the studio where it's the biggest space of the entire studio. And there's probably 8 bays in there at a time.
Nice.
Or whatever we have going on. And we can remove everything and put it back however we want to, whenever we want to, for whatever is happening. So when I have a whole team in the studio, I'll take up like an entire wall of space for them to sit and wait, and then an area for them to play in and do their TikToks and all that kind of stuff.
When you say play, you just mean play on phones. Yeah.
Yes. An area where I'm shooting them, obviously, and then depending on age, an area for their parents to be sitting and waiting to. Then there's a big storage room where we hold lots of shelving units for lots of props, and our refrigerator and all of our needs are in there, I guess. Yeah. We have a bathroom, thank goodness.
That's always good.
It's good. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Is it Johnny on the spot? No, I'm kidding.
Room, which is key. We love that. Very important room. And then our office space is big enough. It probably could hold 3 or 4 people, but we keep it to 2. It's just Lisa and I for the most part that's in there. But when we have someone there helping us, they'll sit. I have a space across from me that also has a computer set up at it and a seating space for them. It's not the most comfortable spot. Like if it was a permanent space, there could be plenty of space there for someone to be, but it's just kind of a temporary fix that we have there for somebody who, like I have a girl who comes in and helps me edit and process teams and stuff, and that's where she sits when she's there with me.
Do you edit there full time or do you edit at home too?
For the most part, I edit at the studio. I'll come home and edit if I'm behind. If I'm, like right now is super busy lifetime for me. We've got lots of changes going on in our world. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but my daughter just had her baby.
Right.
You might have heard that.
Yes. So she was due at beginning of May. And she had it Wednesday.
It's fine.
How many weeks early then?
7.
Yeah.
So she was unexpected. It came like a whirlwind. So because of that, like I was at the hospital for a few days and not here focused on work like I should have been. I was, off for a couple weeks for traveling and I'm behind. So at this point, I would be editing.
That's a good reason to be behind.
Yeah. Good one. So
yeah, for sure.
Home this week because next week I leave to go out of town again. So
where are you going?
Florida again.
Oh, nice.
Oh, bummer. You gotta go to Florida again. From Michigan. Michigan's a great state, but it's wintertime still.
And it's the crappy time of year where it's like just wet and gross. And
Yeah.
Then cold, then hot, then cold.
So have you ever had any glitter in your office area?
You mean like near my computer?
No, maybe near your purse. I don't know.
In my coach bag. Yeah.
Yes.
I had a massive explosion sent from my good friend, Annette.
I wonder who that was.
Annette likes to prank. I think we've already said this on the podcast. It's her love language.
It is. She pinpointed me right at sync. She said, I think your love language is food and pranking. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
So tell the story, Annette. What did you send to Cindy and Lisa?
So they don't make them anymore, but it's a tube that says 8x10 canvas print. I don't know why it says canvas print because you wouldn't think
it's
canvas
perfect.
Would be rolled up in that. But it was a tube and you could send it anonymously from Amazon. And so I sent it to Cindy and Lisa after sync one year. And it blew up in their office.
It was all glitter everywhere.
All glitter.
We just, you had to pop the top open. That's how you opened it. Like you had to unravel this thing and then pop the top, almost like a Pillsbury can. Came rocketing out of there. We had not see that thing in it.
Yeah.
I only prank the ones I love.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be so cute with all of our girls that sink. No.
See, you took it very well. I knew who to send it to, though.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us about how you share the studio space with Lisa, because I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So Lisa and I met at a different studio, the studio that I started at. She had a studio at home before that, but a friend of mine had started a studio near my house, and it's also near her kids' school. So we both kind of signed up to be in the studio. And the problem with that studio is it was tiny, and I think when Lisa came in, there were like 6 of us there. So you couldn't work there. You couldn't have an office there. It was really just for shooting. And it was just too cramped with so many photographers stuff in there. So eventually several people dropped out, and then it was just Lisa and I. So we stayed for a few years together there, and then decided to move to this other area that made more sense for our demographic. And when we moved there, we've been there for 6 years.
Nice.
7, I believe. So, and we share the expenses. We have different bills that we're responsible for. Needed more space for my teams to be there, like for the parents, I'll be there, and the teams to be there. And I wanted people to have the space to have fun.
Right.
Because that's my big thing. I just want them to like have a little party while they're there and really enjoy their time, so that it's a full-on experience for them. And in the space we were in, it was too difficult to do that. And Lisa photographs babies and those magical experiences and things. And
The fairies.
yeah, fairies. And it's a lot of props, you guys. A lot of props.
A lot of glitter.
Newborn props is insane. You can never have enough.
Yeah. So all of her props, and then me, it was just about people, right? Like, how many props do I need for sports? I need balls, right? Like, and here's Lisa hogging up all this damn space with all her props. So moving to a bigger space just made a whole lot more sense. So we went over there, and it was disastrous for a while there. We moved right before COVID. Like, the first horrible thing that happened to us was that our landlord died.
Oh,
gosh.
no.
Deal going with this guy, and I swear he was like an uncle. Like, he was the greatest guy. And he was like, yeah, don't worry about what Lisa says. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you. And he did. Like, he was so incredibly helpful. Then he died.
Oh.
Aw.
And then, so his kids took on the studio, and he had told me we were getting a new roof. So he wasn't done with all his promises that he said he was going to do at the studio. So we moved to the studio. Late June, I think we signed the lease, but by July 4th, the drop ceiling had caved in from a water leak. And Lisa had gone into the studio and was like, hello? Like, holy crap. I sent the picture to the landlord. He was there like within 30 minutes and fixed it, cleaned it up, fixed the problem, and was like, we're getting a new roof. Don't worry. We'll get a new roof. Okay, great. And he died. No new roof. Okay? Lots of leaks. And then COVID happened. So we were kind of like not working, kind of working. You know how that all went for a while. We were shut down entirely. We still had to pay our rent. We still had to do all the things. So no obligation let up on that, So there's all this stress of that. But then they decided that they were going to fix the roof because there were so many leaks during this whole process. But yeah, it's been a hefty road.
It has been.
Yeah. Well,
Tumbling block, but lots of learning along the way too.
Right.
oh yeah. And I think that happens when you have studio space. Yeah. So I have like the small space here in Wentzville. It works for me. It's very small. It's maybe 700 square feet. I have a shooting room and a sitting room to do my order sessions in, but that's about it. And
You have a bathroom too.
I have a bathroom. I do have a bathroom. I wish the ceilings were taller. I wish I had a little bit wider area. Wentzville's hard to find like a good spot to shoot.
Yes. Wentzville grew so fast that once something comes available, either the price is completely jacked up or it's taken right away. So
Right.
it's hard.
That's hard. So I was lucky to find this spot, and it's an older gentleman. He's super sweet, and it's month to month. So I got a really good deal, and it's pretty cheap. So right now it works for me.
Yeah. For me, I'm completely different than you two. I have a home studio. So we have just a finished basement. And actually, when we moved into the home, that was one of the caveats that we wanted in finding the home. I just wanted a bedroom to do newborn photos in. And the house that we have had the finished basement with 2 bedrooms in it and a full-size bath. And one of the bedrooms, I'm like, perfect. I'm claiming this as my newborn studio. Fast forward to 2025, and I have taken over the main living space of the basement. And there's one bedroom still that's technically my husband's office, but so I still do my newborns in the small room because I like to turn on the heater and make it nice and warm when they're in there. But then pretty much anything else I do, especially if I have big backdrops and paper and stuff like that, it's out in the open space.
And you have a ranch, so it's
Yes.
with her, she's got a ranch, so she has a big open area, whereas I have a 2-story and I have a decent sized basement.
Yeah.
But it's not near.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way. A ranch has more of a footprint.
Mhm.
So I have got a little bit, and I've got 9-foot ceilings in my basement. So I don't have to worry about the ceilings and anything like that. So I got room for a little bit of everything, which I like, and we'll talk about more. Once we go through more questions, we have got other pros and cons to tell everybody about.
I've tried to get her to get space. Once I came back from Sync and saw you two, I'm like, oh, you got to meet these girls. They have like the space and they share it. We got to do that.
Yeah. And we actually looked around and we tried, but we had a hard time. And then that fell in your lap.
Yep. I took it. So what would you
Speaking
say
of.
your pros of having a space are?
My pros are I really enjoy having a professional meeting, somewhere where you can really say, let's do a consultation. Even if it's picking up products, like I don't care what kind of client it is. I want them to come to the studio at some point because I feel like it validates me as a professional to say, this is my. It's 2,400 square feet in a world of mammographers, like you guys know, mamarazzis. Having the studio in your basement, having a studio of your own, it sets you apart from just the regular person who has a camera in the schools or whatever. I feel like validity in actually, this is my career. This is what I do full time. You should invest in me. And I feel like that's a kind of a give and take of that from me to my client and my client to me. So I like that.
And the amount of people you have
at
one time too. It's really nice to have.
Yes. I did try doing that in my basement when we first started. I live in a ranch too, and we've got a full basement, the same size as the upstairs of our house, and literally like teams coming through just running through, like coming down into the basement and having their pictures taken, and then business headshot. Both of those things were kind of just weird and awkward.
I totally see it. Yeah, I totally get it.
If I had like a separate door to go into the basement, it would be different, but I don't have like a walkout basement right now, so that's not a.
See, I have one, but we don't have steps going down, and so I've told my husband, if you can get steps going down, I might change my mind, but not until you get steps going down, because I don't want them walking through my house.
Right. It's not comfortable. It would be one thing if I lived here alone and I didn't have a family to worry about, but I do. Like,
you gotta live in your house, right?
Right.
Sorry, I made fish for dinner and it's stinking.
Well, my problem is I have like 3 dogs that love to bark every time somebody's at the door. So it's like I couldn't see that happening because they would bark at them all.
Yeah. I like being able to leave my house and go to work.
Yeah, right? I could see that.
To separate the two.
I personally, just for my own mental health, need that. I can't just I learned that as a stay-at-home mom for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work for me. Be in one place all the time. I need another outlet somewhere.
To go. So, I'll find myself like sitting at the studio. I'm like, I need to go home, but I need to decompress for a little bit. So I'll take a little extra time and sit there and do my emails or whatever. Because I'm like, if the dogs aren't barking, the kids aren't asking for my attention, it's good.
Mm-hmm. When I have a whole team to photograph, or like obviously a league, like I photographed entire clubs at the studio, which is nice. Them to come in and really hammer it out, and I don't have to carry my equipment anywhere. It's right there.
It's the soft boxes to store them. Like I feel like if it was home, you'd be like, oh, I have to collapse that to make space. They can just be out.
A lot of those teams, they have to pay for the space that they're using to practice in. So if you're going to them, they're paying for that space, right? This way, it's just them coming into the studio. And again, the more people that come into the studio, the more they realize what else we do besides just teams. Storage for my equipment is incredibly important. We have so many different types of equipment that we have for so many different things. And we have all of Lisa's props, of course.
I was just going to say the fairy props.
And your backups upon backups of things.
Yeah. So my backups of backups, just in case. And I have the storefront for advertising. We, put advertisement stuff on the windows and things like that. And people can look in the windows and see what we're up to and what we're photographing and what we've got coming in. Lisa has a really cool display right by the front door that is like a fairy type of scene. She's got boxwood grass on the wall and then it has a fairy outfit hanging there with the wings and stuff. So and there's a big portrait of a fairy. So it's a cool thing for people to walk by. Then we've got teams hanging in the windows too. And the coolest thing about that is we've got a restaurant next door that's very popular. So everybody that goes to that restaurant stops at the studio and looks at all the pictures on the walls and finds people they know. So you can always hear people at the studio going, oh, there's Mary. I know her.
Great location that you are at to have all that. Yeah.
And especially like if they're busy and they have to like wait outside, you know, and they're looking at your stuff and they're like, oh, hey, she's legit.
Right.
I think a couple of my pros would be, the storage. And then I like to be able to do the order sessions. So I have all my stuff on the walls and everything, which I could have here, but it's just easier to have that all. Like it's kind of like my little home display, right? You know, you say your house is never a display home because you can't keep it clean. Well, I mean, you can, but you can't. And so I can keep that all clean and perfect. And people come in for their order session and everything's just perfectly laid out and on the walls and ready to go. So I like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, okay. On the flip side, here's my pros for home studio. Yeah, I'm in a different category, not category. That's the wrong word. I'm in a different lifestyle. I don't have kids. How about that? Let's start.
She has dog kids.
I've got fur kids. I don't have human kids. So I think that makes it easier for me to like my stuff in my basement stays set up all the time because it's just me and my husband down there and the dogs might go down there, but that's it. So I don't have to worry about that. So that's nice. But I completely understand, especially if you are a parent and you have kids of any age, they're going to want use of that basement versus I don't have to deal with that or worry about that. So, you know, it makes it much easier for me to just kind of set stuff up and leave it. I obviously have no overhead outside of my mortgage, which I'm paying anyways. I do like the fact I just walk downstairs whenever I want because I also do pet photography and, you know, I'll just be like, you know what? I just got an idea. I'm going to take one of the dogs downstairs with me. We're just going to shoot real fast. So that's kind of nice. So, you know, being spontaneous is nice. But to me, those are my biggest things. One thing I was concerned about when you and I, for that short period of time, were looking at sharing a space was I wanted the rental place to allow us to have animals in it so that I could have my pet sessions there. And, you know, that's 50-50 if you're going to get that as a yes or a no answer, you know?
We just do.
Yeah, you don't ask. You ask for forgiveness, not permission.
So I was not supposed to have them in, and I did do a session.
I came for that one.
You came to help me for that one. It's a very small building, and you can hear everything. I can hear him flushing his toilet. I can hear when his phone rings, and so I can even hear when he burps. But it's funny because we had this dog in, and Christina's trying to help me, and I'm like, I hope these dogs be quiet. And the one just kept barking.
He just kept barking.
I'm waiting for him to walk in the door. And he didn't walk in the door, thank God. But I'm like, okay, it's one thing. And these would.
It's not like you did it all the time. That's the only time you've ever done it.
Right. And they're well behaved for the fact that they weren't peeing on everything or doing anything. They were just, you know.
Well, photographer 101 is ask for forgiveness, not permission. Yeah. You know, when you're at a park, you're like, do you think I can walk over there? You know what? Let's just do it. And we'll just ask for forgiveness later if we need to.
Don't ever go out to a park with me.
Oh, no.
Because I am a target. And I don't know why. I guess I always feel guilty. I will, like, there's this area in Detroit that people, it's like a window, but it's like brick built around it. And there's a window with like this cool circular brick around it. And it's in a cool alleyway that most photographers in Michigan shoot at. Anytime that I am there are people inside. It's an art studio. So if you try to put a senior up in that circle in their windowsill, they're like,
They're seeing the backside. They're seeing the backside of a senior.
Yes, they're like, but I see all these other photographers posting pictures of people in that window. I'm like, how do you get that? I can never. It does not matter where I am. There's a rule, and I even consider breaking it. I'm shut down immediately. Somebody next to me could be doing the same thing, but it doesn't matter. They're coming after me. If I didn't pay for a permit, I'd get kicked out instantly. There could be 20 people around me who did not pay for a permit.
But you're the one. Yep. I feel like it's
your luck.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our next question for you. We just talked about the pros. What are your biggest cons to having your space? What'd you say?
The overhead is a big hit.
Right.
So
that was mine. Right. I would say mine was overhead. Yep.
It's a big deal. And especially in a studio. It's a high-end area. It's a huge space. And we're in a really nice plaza. And then you add in all the utilities and having the open ceilings that we do. I like to hang things from the rafters and all that, you know, like springs coming and swing that will hang from the rafters and little kids can sit on the swing in order to have all that. Yeah, all the heat goes up, right? So
you have to
keep heating it.
Yeah, I just got to keep heating it.
Space heaters.
Now, is your insurance different I guess that's a question for both of you that I don't know about. What about your insurance for a spot?
I think that I still would have the same insurance
Yeah.
either way. We still need liability insurance either
Right.
way.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
I have additional, my landlord requires, I think it's a $2 million policy. And then a lot of times the clubs that I'll photograph, like when we go somewhere, they want to know that we're insured. If something were to happen, suit us, that we could cover it. But our insurance for our belongings, you have to have that either way, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that,
Right.
And-
Yeah. And that's what I have. That's
Yeah.
you guys. So it's basically the same kind of insurance that I have for my business as well. Yeah.
So I
That's
think
good to
I
know.
have the PPA, but then I got an additional policy through their insurance.
Do you have any other cons other than overhead? Is that your biggest con?
My biggest con is overhead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because then you do have to price higher to
Yeah.
cover your cost. And then everybody's like, oh, they're so expensive. Well, I mean, you have to cover your cost for your location. And
Yeah.
Well, the other con too is upkeep of the place.
Well,
you have
yeah.
to, like, it's a lot of time. There's
Yeah.
you gotta clean it, which
Yeah.
sucks.
right.
It's just the general upkeep of the space as a whole. But when something goes wrong, if something breaks, I have to go fix it. You know, like
Right,
there's
right.
more time in the building than what you would have if you didn't have a building, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of stinks.
Yeah. That's definitely things you have to take into account for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
it is.
I think
Thankfully, mine's so small. I can clean
Right.
it in like an hour and be good. But you still have to get
during
the
your
gals.
decompression time. At the
Yeah,
end.
right.
Well, I think on a 2,400 square foot space, that's a lot of cleaning, a lot of like floors to mop and stuff.
I'm gonna have to send you guys some pictures. Our floors are white epoxy.
I mean, that's kind of cool, though.
That is cool, but how dirty do they get?
White epoxy cleats it. All Lisa's fairy dust and shit.
That's so funny.
I say for me, okay, so those are your guys's. For me, my biggest cons are my house has to be clean, which I mean, I'm a tidy person in general, but you still live in your house.
You don't have kids junking it up.
No,
either,
right,
so that's a
exactly.
bonus.
I don't. I just have dog toys, things like that. And then I have to put away the dogs because, we don't want the dogs attacking people when they come in the door. And then my husband works from home 80 at least % of the time. I have to shove him into a bedroom too.
He just walks around with earphones on. It's fine.
I have a question though about your dogs. When people come to the studio, have you ever had any issues with like dog allergies or people being afraid of dogs and your
So,
dogs are there?
that's a really good question because at one point in time, I'm like, you know what? You know how people they sell things on like Etsy and stuff. They're, from like a smoke-free, pet-free home kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't say that anywhere in my stuff. I've never had an issue with it. I have thought of like, you know what, maybe I should just put a clause in my contract for the people I know coming to my studio just so that they know. I've never had an issue. My best friend is scared of dogs. So I'm aware that there's people out there that aren't dog people, but yeah, allergies are definitely a more serious thing than just being scared of a dog. Because I can put my dog up, no problem. But
Yeah.
I think that's short answer, I have not had an issue. I have thought I probably should maybe put something in, but I just haven't yet.
Until the person leaves with a rash and they're going to be like, oh, you got a rash.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I guess I would think if somebody's actually severely allergic, like my brother-in-law is allergic to cats, he always asks the question, do you have cats at your house before I
Yeah.
walk in the door? So I think it would come up in conversation while we're talking about things beforehand. But yeah, you know what? That is a good call out and I appreciate that because I probably should.
Maybe that would be a question to add to your
Question to add
like
in my
when
questionnaire.
Yes.
Exactly.
say, I have dogs.
I have dogs, yeah.
Okay, so the next question, Cindi, what made you decide to have a studio?
So my friend that where Lisa and I met, she just kind of convinced me that she had signed a lease so good she couldn't refuse it and was like, come join me, come do this. And it wasn't the right time for me, but I was like, okay, it's cheap, I'll do it. And so that's what got me in. And then after that, I was hooked. I couldn't not have one. That was-
Right. I do feel like it's hard when you have one to actually revert back because,
I could see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just like that space. Regardless how small or whatever, it's your space.
And life changes. Like everything is going to be, every so often you have to take inventory and say, is this still the right path? Do I need to do something different? Do I need to make any adjustments? And so do I think I'll always do this? I don't necessarily think I'll always have a studio or at least the size of a studio or in the same place or like as life changes, we'll evolve like we always do
Right,
with everything.
right.
But for
But
now,
for
you're in
right
the right
now,
spot.
like this,
Yeah.
How do you handle the overhead cost and make sure that your studio still stays profitable?
every month we host a different kind of session that will pay the bills
Really?
for that month. So yeah. So like in the fall, I run a session for this group, Romeo Bulldogs, and their football club. And they do this Parent Appreciation Day, and they hang banners of the kids on the fences. And it's a whole football club. So this is like a huge age range of kids. And so I'll get probably anywhere between 20 and 30 of these kids and charge them. I probably get $300 to $400 a kid between the sale of the banner and then whatever else they buy. Typically, that'll cover 2 months of
Right.
studio expense. Then we do some Christmas sessions. It's like the mini sessions that we do that we host at the studio that ends up paying for all of that
Right.
stuff. So I find these like little mini things that I can do and just gain lots of onesie twosie things
Right.
that will add up and pay the bills. And then my big sessions are where I make the money. You know, those smaller ones cover the studio expenses. But like in the spring we do senior cap and gown sessions. They're just 10-minute quick sessions, but that covers a couple of months.
Right.
That way. In the winter right now, we do 10-minute athlete sessions with the smoke and fog and all that kind of stuff.
We got a couple more questions for you. Ready?
Okay. So, any advice for photographers considering transitioning into a studio space?
My biggest suggestion is to have a stockpile of money. Like, make sure that you can cover like 6 months of your expense in case you sprain your ankle and need to have surgery, or oh, there's a fire in your studio and you're still responsible for paying your rent even though you can't use your studio. That is
or God forbid another quarantine happens.
Yes. Yeah. Like, and all that stuff happened to us in 1 year. So we had like one whole year of no production. So without having that stockpile of money, we would have been sunk. Like, it would have been awful. Eventually we got insurance money, but you have to stay afloat until that insurance money comes in. So that's my biggest thing. And that was just something I always did anyways. Before I signed this lease, I knew that I could cover these expenses. If Lisa had to escape and not be a part of the studio anymore, I could still cover all these expenses on my own and not die doing it. I would be able to live out my lease and be able to handle that. And you're signing a lease, it's a contract. You have to follow through with it, right? Like, to me, being a good business person means holding up your end of the bargain, and that's part of it. So just really make sure, even more than insurance, make sure that you have extra money, because I can tell you again, having to file many insurance claims, insurance doesn't cover everything.
No.
And they're going to give you the hardest time trying to recover your money that you've put into it. You need to have your own money to be able to replace your stuff. Still file your insurance claims because you have to have the insurance. It's not going to replace your equipment. It's not going to replace your belongings the same way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. Make sure that you have your own insurance in your bank account is a better way.
That's very smart.
Yes. Yep. Plan and prepare, and start small. And that, just like you have, Annette, like Lisa and I did, we started with a small studio, and then we thought, okay, I think we're ready. Yes, we can handle it. We jumped in and did it. So I think that's the biggest lesson that we've learned throughout this is you just don't know what's going to happen.
Very good lesson. Very good lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. I have your final question. Are you ready? What is the weirdest or funniest thing that's ever happened to you during a photo shoot?
Okay, I've got two. Can I tell you two?
Yes, of course.
Please.
This was outdoor one summer. Every single senior that I photographed, and this was like, so I think I had 30 seniors that summer. It was one of my busiest years. And every single shoot, I found a pair of them.
You found a pair of what?
Underwear.
They were little kid underwear, adult underwear, men's, women's. Every shoot, pair of underpants somewhere. Every single shoot. I even photographed the different pairs of underpants after a while, and like I have a file on my computer that has the underpants summer. Mm-hmm.
Don't post the little kid ones.
I love it.
How do you forget your underwear?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Why? And sometimes I was like concerned.
I want to know what's happening in Michigan that people just like to leave their underpants behind.
And then the other one, last summer, toward the end of the summer, we went and photographed this football club, and Verizon had an outage that morning. So we all get up and no Verizon for the entire state. And I think there were more states involved than just ours, but the majority of people around here have Verizon. So can't communicate with the clients. I can't communicate with my girls who are working for me. And there were, I think, 6 of us that day. Here's the address. Can't send that to them. You can't map where you're going to. And then once we got there, like I couldn't load the information into photo that we needed.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a nightmare. Like that was the worst. And if ever you felt like you should try to live off the grid and figure it out, do it.
Right? How much we rely on the cellular companies.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So did the shoot actually happen or did you have to reschedule?
No, we did it, but you couldn't make phone calls. You couldn't text. You couldn't, like, your phone was useless.
Yeah.
There was nothing you could do with, so there wasn't even calling people and saying, turn right, turn left. You couldn't do that.
Oh,
Well, those are two pretty good stories. Those are good.
that is great. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Tell listeners where they can find you and connect with you.
I'm on Facebook at Jones Photography at the Studio on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Cindy_Jones_photography.
Cindy with an I.
Yes, I'm sorry, Cindy with an I.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm on TikTok, but it must be Jones Photography. It's something Cindy Jones Photography or Jones Photography. I don't remember. My kids set it up for me.
I love it. At the very least, Google Jones Photography in Michigan and they'll find you.
Yes, and my website is cindyjonesphotography.com.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thanks for taking out the time to speak with us. We truly appreciate it.
Always fun to talk with you.
Thank you guys for having me. It was so much fun.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Wind Down and Focus. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode full of photography tips, stories, and of course, some laughs.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and remember, whether you're behind the lens or in front of it, keep having fun and capturing those unforgettable moments.
Catch you next time as we sit, chat, and focus on what makes photography awesome.
Before we go, can you do us a small favor? Go online right now and share this episode with one friend who you think will love it. And while you're at it, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It really helps us reach more photographers like you. Also, don't forget to check out the show notes. We've got a free guide waiting for you when you subscribe. It's called 5 Ways to Get More Photography Clients, and it's packed with actionable tips to help you grow your business. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time on Wind Down and Focus.